We're going to go over 11 things you should know before filing for divorce, and let's get started. Number one, gather all documents in preparation for litigation. So what documents are you going to need? Go ahead and make sure you got your passport ready so your spouse can't grab that. Get your birth certificate, get your social security card, because you'll see a lot of hateful spouses that will hide those things to try to create leverage. Go ahead and get those things out of the way and move to the side. Other documents you're going to need: your mortgage. You're going to need maybe your appraisal, bank statements, retirement statements. These are things that, in order to get this done, whether it's contested, which is by agreement, uncontested by agreement, or contested, you're going to need to know these numbers in order to go forward. So go ahead and start getting those ready. You may need to get more documents as the case progresses, as your lawyer tells you to, but at least get as many documents together to get prepared to save you time and stress as your divorce proceeds. Number two, do not fraudulently transfer money or property. You'll see times where the husband, in trying to keep the farm from going back to the wife, they'll put title over on the property to their dad. Or you may have someone that will sell their car to their work friend for $10. It's not going to cut it. That's fraudulent. The court is not only going to frown on that, the court will likely punish you because the spouse is going to have to go through so much more work in order to get that fraudulent transfer set aside. So we're looking at paying attorney's fees and possible punishment from the court if you do those types of things. So number three is start getting your budget ready. So think about this. While you are together, you've got dual income, right? You may have your spouse's insurance. Once you separate, you're not going to have that luxury anymore. You're cutting your income in, it may be half, it may be more than that, maybe less than half. But regardless, it's going to change. And other things are going to change, such as you may be living in a big house because you guys have dual income, right? You may be changing your house. We may be changing our neighborhood. So our bills are going to change. You need to be able to have a budget ready in order for you to know, not just for divorce litigation purposes, but for you to be able to survive, for you to be able to afford to pay your attorney, or for you to be able to afford to move, whatever those things are. You need to go ahead and start planning your budget. So now, fourth, don't accumulate any more debt, right? Okay, because you got to understand that debt has got to be paid from one of you. The court will not appreciate if you throw down a large piece, throw down $5,000 on a four-wheeler or something frivolous, TV, right before divorce. They will look at that and they will understand what you were trying to do, that you were trying to burden the other party with debt while you get away with the asset. And they will not like it. And they can, again, we go back to the fraudulent transfer. This is another form of that. Number five, stay active in your children's lives, right? So let's go 3 or 4 months down the road when we are litigating and the lawyer is cross-examining you. And they'll say, okay, when's the last time that you went to your child's orientation? And you can say, well, I actually just went to child's orientation. Or they may say, when's the last time that you went to a child's haircut? Well, I'm the one who took the child for the haircut. Well, have you taken the child to the doctor? Have you sacrificed work to take your child to the doctor? Boom. Make sure that you're the one doing as much of these things as you can. Understanding with that, you've got to be reasonable. If you're going to miss work to take your child somewhere and you're going to lose your job, you don't need to be losing your job in the middle of a divorce, right? Next, number 6, start looking for what your plan is for health insurance. Part of marriage is health insurance, is you've got the ability for you guys to be on a family plan. Post-divorce, you're not going to have that luxury. In fact, they won't allow you to do that. This goes back to budgeting. You've got to figure out what you're going to be eligible for health insurance, and you've got to figure out what it's going to cover, such as what your deductible is, what your copays are, and what your premiums are. It's part of the budget. Number 7, keep a calendar of each person's time with the children. It's easy to think, okay, well, I generally do this, okay? But the other parent is going to say, well, I generally pick up the kid too. Well, until you document it, if you show, oh, well, actually, in the last 30 days, I picked up the child 10 times and he picked up the child twice. If you've got it documented, it's much more powerful with a court than if you say, hey, I generally pick up the kid. Because the other parent is also going to say that. They're going to say, well, not much more than me. If you've got that paper trail, the documentation, it means more. Same thing, document picking up the child, taking the child to the doctor, who took the child to soccer practice, picked up from soccer practice. Again, that's time that you spent. Next, keep records of who pays the bills. A lot of times we'll have people that most of the time we've got joint bank accounts, and then it's just money going in, money going out. It doesn't matter who's paying it, it's coming out of the same account. But we'll also have people that have separate accounts. We have separate accounts. Generally, once the divorce starts, you're going to have a status quo order. And this status quo order is going to say that you guys have to keep paying bills as you did throughout the marriage. They don't want things to change. The reason they do this is if that's how y'all did it during the marriage, it should just continue that way until the marriage is dissolved. Okay? So go ahead and write out, again, part of your budget, who's paying what, how much it is, so that once that status quo order is put in place, the other party doesn't abide by it, then you can show proof, hey, look, he had been the one paying the gas bill, and now he's not paying it, okay? Next is plan where you're going to live. That's important both for budget purposes and for custody purposes. If you're going to try to move somewhere different, how you attack in a child custody case is completely different than if you're staying in the same school district, for instance. Also, it's going to affect your budget. If you're going to move to another state, you've got to pay moving. We've got to pay, it may cost more in that other state. Those are things you need to look into. Next, 10, get you an attorney, okay? Even if you guys have come to an agreement and all we're doing is just drawing, you need to make sure that you have someone else looking over the agreement. One word can make a huge difference. And so hire that attorney to look it over. And finally, number 11 is speak to the spouse about your divorce before you go forward. If you can, get it done uncontested, which means by agreement, or even if you guys can agree on some things, it's going to lower the costs. It's going to lower the stress level that you're going to have. It's going to lower the time that it's going to take. Check out one of my other videos for uncontested to know more about why you might want to go uncontested.